let's just assume, and Mike, you haven't heard anything. Cam Ward's likely going 1, right? We think that that's going to be the thing. Okay, so let's assume that. Mike's nodding for the radio audience. Then, Mike, what on earth do the Browns do at 2?
I'm intrigued. I know Andrew very well, and I really know Kevin Stefanski well, another Philly guy. And they're both highly, highly intelligent in any industry. And so here we are. They traded for Kenny Pickett from the Eagles. And I'm sitting here going, they have to take a quarterback at 2, right? But if Cam Ward's gone and they don't have a grade on Shador that justifies anywhere near that, you can easily sit there in a behind closed doors and go, look, we already have our developmental young quarterback. He was a first-round pick in 22. His name's Kenny Pickett. So why don't we continue to work with this kid? He's got a little bit of NFL experience. He was a first-round pick for a reason. And we think we had a better grade on him coming out than we do on Shador or Jackson Dart or any of these guys. So he can be our young developmental guy, but here's the caveat. Now we got to go find a veteran. And Aaron Rodgers, if he goes to Pittsburgh like we all think, at the end of the day, what does that leave for a quality veteran starter? To me, it's Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr. Now, when you look at those two, nothing's coming out of New Orleans that would suggest they would allow him to go. He's their starter this year. You look at Atlanta, it's a different conversation. Kirk Cousins wants out. Atlanta is willing to let him go, assuming they get what they want in return. I'm assuming on top of that, Atlanta wants to wait post-June 1st because then they can let the salary cap mitigate over a 2-year period instead of 1. So it's a little bit of a quarterback roulette game because after those 2 quarterbacks, and keep in mind, they both have no trade clauses. If you don't get either one of them, then we're in the Carson Wentz, Ryan Tannehill, Joe Flacco world. And you got to be careful because I'm not sure you want Kenny Pickett under center week 1 in Cleveland. And by the way, you'll be calling that game, Andrew.
And it could be against Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you never know. It's fascinating. Let's say they don't go Shador, all right? And the Browns are in Colorado right now. Pro Day is tomorrow there. Yep. Expected to meet, as they've said. They said it this week in Florida with both Travis Hunter and Shador Sanders. Let's say Shador gets to 9, Mike, and hypothetically the Saints turn in the card. Well, then does Derek Carr want out? We already know that Kirk Cousins would like a little bit of clarity. I don't want to go to a team that's going to take a quarterback in the first round. I might want to wait until after the draft. But after the draft, there may not be a job that then is open at that point. So I'm with you. It's kind of a game of roulette. And there are a lot of Browns fans that say, we'll trade up to 1. Well, the Titans may not want to trade. Everyone has a price. But, Mike, we did the research, and Jack Andrade and I both dove into it. Jack Andrade, great NFL researcher, handles the draft. There has never been a trade from 2 to 1, ever. There's no precedent. There's been a trade from 3 to 1, but that was 1975 when the Falcons flipped with Baltimore, the Colts, and moved up 3 to 1 for George Kuhn's an all-pro right tackle. That was it, 1 for 1. So when people say, well, the Titans won 2 1s, I say that's absurd. But when you're on the clock, if they're not entirely into Cam Ward, maybe it's doable. But this idea that you could just flip them a 3 and get there, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't see it in any way, shape, or form on the clock or elsewise. I don't think people want to panic on the clock. That decision's going to be made with your owner. When you're picking number 1, your owner's sitting in there going, what are we doing? So it's the GM, the head coach, the owner. They're all going to have that decided well before they put a card in the first night of the draft.
And that owner, Amy Adams Strunk in Tennessee, has to think big picture. We're building a new stadium as well. And if we think this guy is the guy, Cam Ward, it would be nice to have that quarterback and have that piece in place as you work towards that new future in downtown Nashville.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.